Alright YouTube, so we are back of course to talk about some Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. What we have today is something pretty interesting. So according to at least one retailer online, EB Games in Australia, Intergrade is going to have a code where you have to download the Yuffie DLC. So they kind of have a basic description of what Intergrade is, but at the bottom part it says, the new episode featuring Yuffie will be a code supplied in the box. So this obviously has some people talking. There's people defending it, and there's some people that are hating on it, because I guess we didn't really know what this was going to be, right? I guess I kind of assumed that Intergrade itself, like the disc, was just going to have everything on it. But I guess I never clicked that they might do the DLC code thing, which is pretty common. They've been doing that for a while now. I do own some games that still have like either the DLC built into the disc or a separate disc for like the DLC for a game. Examples I have are Fallout 3 and New Vegas. Like both those have like an extra disc in the box for the DLC. I realize those examples are quite old, but those are actually games that you can walk into like Walmart today and buy them. I was there today before recording this video, just looking at the gaming section, and you can still buy Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas with the DLC disc inside the case, but it's like the version where it's for Xbox One and also Xbox 360, but still, it's something you can buy today, right now, and you don't have a DLC code inside the box. So it's like Elder Scrolls Oblivion, which is just another Bethesda game, like you can buy that Xbox 360, Xbox One version, or buy a used copy of like the special edition, Game of the Year edition, whatever it is, for Oblivion on 360, or maybe even PS3, and it'll have the DLC disc inside. Like you don't have a code, that's just didn't used to be a thing. Anyways, at some point along the way, companies decided to start doing the code for the DLC instead of providing it with the game either on the disc or a separate disc. And at the end of the day, it's really just to make them more money. Whether you support it or not, that's just a fact of the situation. It hurts the secondary market. You can't walk into, like, you know, a game store and buy a used copy of, like, modern games that have DLC, because usually they're going to come with a code inside it and it's already been used. Also, it's done, obviously, to prevent people from getting things for free, because the examples I gave earlier of, like, the Fallout games in Oblivion, like, you could just take the install disc for the DLC for those games and just give it to your friends so that they can install the DLC onto their console for free. They don't have to go buy the DLC or buy the Ultimate Edition themselves. And assuming that what we're reading on this EB Games website is true, I'm assuming that's what they're doing as well with Intergrade, because theoretically, say you have you and two of your friends. Like, one of you could buy Intergrade and just install it on your PS5, give it to your friend, they can install it, and the other guy can install it as well. And if you upgraded your PS4 version for free to the PS5 version, you get the Yuffie DLC for free. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to buy Intergrade, you don't have to buy that $20 DLC. You get it for free. Look, my dudes, I'm not saying there's a wrong or right answer here. You can be on either side of this. You know, I'm just giving you both sides of the story. Them not wanting people to get shit for free, but also kind of hurting the secondary market. But my biggest problem here is that if it was a part of the actual disc for Intergrade, then people couldn't get it for free, right? Like, if there wasn't like a separate install for the Yuffie DLC, like an install disc, if it was just a part of the Intergrade disc itself, then somebody couldn't just put it in their console and get it for free, because they would still need the disc within the console to play the damn thing. Like every single game in your collection currently, right? Like, for another Bethesda example, just off the top of my head, Skyrim Special Edition, when that came out in 2016, there's no DLC disc with it. It's just all built into the game disc itself. And I can't give that to somebody, let them install it on their console, they give me the disc back, and then they get to play Skyrim Special Edition for free. That's just not how that works. So when companies have DLC codes within the box, it's honestly just to hurt the secondary market. That's just the truth of the matter. So you can't go out and buy that game used in a couple of months, couple of weeks, or whatever, and have everything. You're still going to have to buy the DLC separately, or you're going to have to buy the brand new game that's going to come with everything. And actually, something I just thought of that I mentioned earlier in the video is that they should have put the Yuffie DLC on the Intergrade disc itself, but that's actually not a workaround, because you could still install your friend's copy of Intergrade on your PS5 for free, obviously, and then just go buy you a used copy of Intergrade, and that's not going to make Square Enix money, which is why the DLC code thing exists. And it's actually not anything new when it comes to Square Enix. They did the same thing with Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition. They had like voucher codes for the DLCs, but there's also like the day one version of the game, so you still had to like install all of the updates for Final Fantasy 15. They weren't provided with the Royal Edition, which is kind of stupid. And look, how you feel about that, my dudes, is entirely up to you. I'm not trying to tell you what to believe. I see arguments for both sides. My personal thoughts on it, however, I am a big believer in the secondary market. I buy used games all the time, whether that's like a GameStop, a Vintage Stock, or some other generic used game store, or like flea markets. I go to flea markets all the time and buy like game collections and just random games I've heard of, but never got the chance to play. And there's eventually going to come a time, and it may be several years away at this point, where the secondary market's going to really suck, because unless it's like a sealed copy of the game that somebody's selling for cheaper than brand new, it's not going to have like the DLC and the extra content and stuff. And that's going to suck whenever that day comes. Also, just personally think it sucks that you can't like buy Intergrade physically and be pretty much playing the Yuffie DLC right away. Like, you're going to have to install Intergrade onto your PS5, and then you're also going to have to separately download the Yuffie DLC, and I think that's kind of sucky. But at least as of right now, I don't believe there's confirmation of this from like Square Enix themselves. It is just a listing over on EB Games. But more than likely, this will be the case given Square Enix's track record and just kind of how modern games are handled. But ultimately, we just need some confirmation eventually, whether that's, them saying it, people getting early copies of the game, or just waiting for the game to actually come out. Other videos, that is the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys aren't able to more Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Turn on my notifications. Follow me on Twitter, dashingdavidYT. I'm on Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine, or leave it like Cobain.